Hi, welcome back to Beyond the Classroom. For today's video, we are going to talk about getting started with AutoCAD, particularly the AutoCAD interface. If you are new to AutoCAD or you just started using it, this video is for you. The following subtopics will be explained after you watch the whole video, so stay with me. First, I will explain how to open a new file in AutoCAD, including how to launch the program. Second, how to set the units in AutoCAD. Third, how to select and deselect AutoCAD objects or entities fast. Fourth, enumerate the parts in AutoCAD 2D interface. Next, enumerate the kind of ribbons there in AutoCAD. And lastly, I would also give you some tips that I have used for some years. For this video, I am using AutoCAD 2021, but if you have lower versions of AutoCAD, you still can follow. But before that, if you are new to this channel, please click subscribe and click the ring button for notification. Alright, let's get into it. To start with, first we're going to launch the AutoCAD application, and there are a lot of ways to do that. So I have to put my cursor here at start, and then you would see here that I have AutoCAD 2021. I can double click it and it will launch on the background. The load will depend on the specification of computer. I am using AutoCAD 2021 as what I've said, and this runs with an educational license since we are using this at school. Shout out to all my students at Carlos Hilado Memorial State College. And then it would look like this one. If I maximize it, it would gather all the screen. This is what it looks like when you open an AutoCAD. Since I'm using it for quite some time, there are recent documents here. But if you are new, there's none. So if you can see the projects of my previous students here. At this particular site, you can see Get Started, Open File, Open Sheets, so on and so forth. Alright, for this first thing that we should do, how to start a new file in AutoCAD. See, so for this moment in time, everything that you can see, if I click into it, it is not yet activated here above, but we could see the shadows of what it looks like. To start a new file, I will hover my mouse here at the application menu. This is the application menu with the AutoCAD logo on it. There's I will left click on it on my mouse, and then you would see this one. So there's new file, and this is my recent documents. If I click new or Control N on the keyboard, I'm gonna left click here, this select template will show up. Alright, so here now, if I could click open, it would open a new file. But I am going to left click on this drop down arrow, left click, and you will see there are two types of template when you open AutoCAD. Okay, so there's no template using imperial units and open with no template metric. Imperial units are English system, so that includes inch, feet, yard, and so on. And metric, of course, includes millimeters, centimeters, meters, and so on. For this particular video, I'm going to use open with no template metric. And this will load on our screen. Okay, if you can see, if I could hover the mouse, you see the cross on it. It's pink because I have modified it. This is called crosshair. It is simply as the cursor or the mouse at its default. Alright, so we just have opened a new file, and the file is called Drawing 1. So that is the default since we don't save it. As you can see, this is AutoCAD 2021 educational version, so it's free. Alright, so here now, if I switch through tabs, this is Start. This is what it looks like before a while ago, and now this is Drawing 1. If I open again, left click, new, and imperial metric, the tabs here shows it's Drawing 2. So I could switch through tabs. So that means you could open so many AutoCAD drawing file on one notch. I'm gonna close this one. Alright, so that is how it is very easy to start a new file in AutoCAD. On to the next one. So the second is how to set the units inside AutoCAD. So we have started a while ago from a node template metric, and now I'm going to set the units that I want. So in the keyboard, let's hit UNITS, that is units. I'm going to hit enter, and this drawing shows drawing units. So there's the length, you can choose from architectural and so on and so forth. I'm gonna click decimal. Precision is, I'm gonna select the 2 decimal places, and I'm gonna use millimetric. Easy as that. So you could choose the desired units that you want by doing that. I'm gonna hit OK, and that's it. For our third topic, we're going to select and deselect AutoCAD entities in AutoCAD. But to do that, we need an entity. So I'm going back here at Start. I'm gonna left click, and I'm gonna open a recent file of my students. I'm gonna click this one, and then it would open. So as you can see, you can switch tab. There's now 2 files inside my AutoCAD. Okay, how to select and deselect fast. This is very easy. So, okay, to zoom in, so I'm gonna zoom here using my mouse, the scroll button of the mouse. I'm going to zoom. Alright, so if I hover my mouse, you can see that I could hover and some items in the AutoCAD were selected. There are a lot of ways and 3 ways to select. First is we're going to select using a rectangular kind of selection. If my mouse, if I'm going to select this particular entity here, which is a block, I'm gonna explain that on the next videos. So I'm gonna left click here, left click on the mouse. Alright, and then I'm gonna drag my mouse going to the direction here. You can see I did not click, I just move my mouse, and then I will let this rectangular type of selection hit a certain portion of what I want to select. I'm gonna left click here again, and you can see that this particular entity has been selected. I'm gonna delete it for the purpose of demonstration. Okay, Control Z. So that's the first one. Another one, if I move my mouse at here, at the direction here, again, I'm gonna left click here, and then I'm going to move my mouse. You can see there is blue. Earlier it was green. We need to make sure that this rectangle has the entity that we want to select inside the bound of the rectangle, and select it. There you go, and then it was selected. I'm gonna shift escape on the keyboard. Alright, and the next is when you left click on the mouse, this one, drag, and we could create this selection. I'm gonna make sure it is inside, and there it is selected. Okay, so what's the difference? Okay, for the first demonstration, if I use the first method, if I left click here and drag my mouse, everything that the rectangle, particularly the green rectangle that touches the entities inside here, will be selected. I'm gonna left click here and see that this one, and this one is selected. Escape. Alright, for the second method, if I left click above and drag my mouse down with this blue rectangle, only those that is inside the bound of that rectangle will be selected. So for this example, what is inside our blue rectangular selection is this column, this wall, and this particular block. If I left click down here, that is what is selected. So how to maximize that AutoCAD potential? So if I want to erase this whole drawing, I'm gonna use the first method to make it fast. So I'm gonna left click here, drag my mouse, everything that is in green that touches the green, even though they are not inside my rectangular green selection, then left click here, everything else, if I delete it, it would all disappear. But if I want to use the second method, I use it when I want to select something very specific without touching some entities inside AutoCAD to make it fast. Example, I'm going to click this one, so left click here, and even though it touches some boundaries, it is not selected. I'm going to delete this one, Control Z. But if you also can click left click and delete, Control Z. So there's a lot of ways to do that. It's for you how to maximize it. Easy as that. Next on our list is to describe the user interface of AutoCAD. So since we're using it, I'm going to explain the parts to you. So this is again the crosshair, which is the cursor of our mouse. If we move the mouse, it moves as well. If you are new to AutoCAD, the crosshair is white and it's quite small, but I have modified it so it is easier for me to see the crosshair. Alright. So here at the top is called the application menu. So if you click this one, you can open new, save the file, import, export, publish, so on and so forth. So this is the application menu. Okay, going down here, this is called the cascading drop-down menus. So you could also click there to save, to open, to print, which is also seen here. Down here, these are called ribbons. So the ribbons has the tools and the particularly it is divided into its uses. So the first ribbon is draw ribbon. The next is modify. The next is annotation. The next is layer, then blocks, then properties. If you happen to drag that ribbon down here, you can drag it. But if you did it accidentally, it's still fine. I'm gonna left click here on my mouse and drag it down here. So this would float on our screen. So to bring that up, you're gonna left click this to return panel to ribbon, and it will return down here at home. So if I switch tab here at insert, the ribbon will change. Alright, so I'm gonna click home. So these are called ribbons. Alright, so these are called the drawing tabs here. So that includes the start and all the tabs that we have open. So the specification of the computer will decide on how many tabs it can carry depending on your computer specification. And now, down here below, you could see this is the UCS icon, which has X and Y axis simply because we are in 2D AutoCAD. So if we are in 3D, the Z axis will also appear. So that is our UCS icon. Down the UCS icon, there is tabs that says Model, Layout 1, and Layout 2 tabs. What is that? The Model tab is simply as the model space which we draw our plan. The Layout tab is if I left click here, okay, you can see that this is the paper where we're going to print the plan. So Layout 1 and Layout 2. And if I click this new layout, it would add another. We're gonna cover that on the next video. But for now, that's the tab down here. Moving forward, this is called the command line, the command prompt, on how you call it. Different books call it differently. But this command tab is where we type the commands that we do here at AutoCAD. So this is what actually is the communication of us user to the AutoCAD program happens. So if for the demonstration, I would click or the keyboard line, which is L, shortcut. I'm gonna click enter. Notice this side of the screen, which is the command line. If I click enter, the command line will say line specify first point. So the AutoCAD is telling you to specify the first point. If I left click here, the AutoCAD will again give us the next possible things to do. So it says specify next point. If I click here, it says again specify next point. So probably this particular command line is what we do to see what is next, or what is the AutoCAD rule on how to use the command. So if you are new to AutoCAD, you better pay attention to what is the AutoCAD is asking you to do next. So that is the command line. Next to the command line here, this is called status bar. And there are a lot of drawing and construction aids on that particular bar. So if you could see, there are particular drawing aids which is blue, and there are not highlighted one. What does it mean? So we're gonna click one by one. So next at model, there is a grid. If I hover my mouse, it says grid. It's F7 on keyboard shortcut. If I click this one, you could see that this area changes, which is the grid does appear. So those drawing aids with blue, the highlighted ones, are available on the screen, which is activated. If I left click again, it would disappear. So if you happen to need a polar tracking, a dynamic input, you could activate it here at the status bar. There are a lot of drawing aids that is not displayed here. If you want to see what else is going to display, we're gonna left click here at the three bars, and then we could click everything here, and they will appear on our status bar there. So a lot of drawing aids are now here down, but that doesn't mean that they are activated. So some of them are not highlighted in blue. In order to activate them, we're gonna left click on them one by one. So that is the status bar for now. Moving forward, so this big area which is black is called the drawing area. So that is where we draw the plans that we have here at AutoCAD. All right. There is also here, you can see you can sign in at AutoCAD 360, so you can access online services, to explore, to sign in an account, to purchase options. If you want to purchase a license of AutoCAD, is up here. And then there is a maximize, restore, and a close button up there. Easy as that. Alright, I'm gonna give you some tips for what I have said. So some of my students before, they managed to off this ribbon tab here. So as you can see here at features, there is a panel button. Some of my students just missed, but they have clicked this one. So what happened if you click this one? If I left click here once, that is what it looks like to the ribbon. So some of my students that do that unconsciously, so they don't know how to do it, gonna left click again here at the panel titles, and then everything on the ribbon will disappear. You have to click again for the third time, and then that is what it looks like. But if you click fourth time, they will be restored. Easy as that. So if it happens to you, you better go to that panel buttons and click 4 times, and we are good. So that's it. Particularly, that sums up our video. Hope you like it, and if you want to watch more videos, please click subscribe. See you at the next video.